All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're live. And I'm glad you could be here, even if it's virtually with us. All right, here we go. This is going to be, I think, a fun show, but it could be a total disaster. So you tell me in the chat when we turn it on. But I'm glad you could be here. Glad you could be with us. All right, as with always, questions will be answered, but later, so do ask them. And remember to keep all flash photography to your family only. All right, we got a lot. Now today, oh yeah, today's nerd shirt was brought to you by Hawkins AV Club. Come for the riveting talk on 8mm projector reels and stay for the pineapple upside down cake. Now, if you didn't get that one, then you're obviously still, hold on, oh wait, yep. Then you're obviously still binging on Netflix and you haven't gone back to work, or maybe you did get it. Either way, now hold on, let's check one thing. I'm getting word out in the ether that we may not be live yet. Let's make sure. No, I'm seeing live. All right, we're looking good. Okay, so a couple of things. You know, over the past couple of weeks, we've been talking a lot about how to make your Zoom calls look better with things like Wirecast and NDI. We looked at lecture capture and recording with Lumens, and how to take your remote interviews with Intonor and make them look really good. On today's show, we're talking about events, live ones. All kinds of events and what it takes to put them on the web. So look, you may be a bit of a concert purist and like it, you know, in person, and Coachella might be your jam. Right? You know, let's take for instance Trolls 2. This was released on demand before it went to movie theaters. Why? Well, because they were closed. But the interesting thing is it still broke even. In fact, it's even poised to make a bigger profit, since the profit for on-demand video is much lower than it is for theatrical releases. Let's also look at concerts like these live ones that we're seeing here with Elton John and John Fogerty from their living rooms and their garages, right? We've got things like Imagine Dragons doing very simple performances on Facebook and the Gram, you know. And then my personal favorite, let's take a look here when you step it up with Post Malone and they do their Nirvana tribute. And this is great. You can see there's a lot more production value here. They're running multiple cameras. They've got somebody running some kind of switcher. It's a phenomenal production, and they're even taking donations for people affected by COVID. But you know, what's even more interesting is we look at something like this. Travis Scott just released a song to 12 million people live on a video game. Yeah, that's right. He released during Fortnite, a very popular online game. 12 million people were signed in watching this live. Twitch and other game streaming sites. So the world for live events has changed. I bet you never thought this would happen. Take for instance though, this might be more where our clients are going. Things like TED, right? More of the simpler, you know, heads up production. And I think this is probably where we're going to land in the future. Having this type of interaction with our audiences, being able to broadcast an event or a talk or a concert, whatever it may be, but it's about taking it online, about being able to interact. All right, and more importantly, hold on, let's pause. Yay, old Ted here. You know, more importantly, as you put these events online, some of the things that we need to think about is, what if you want to close it off? What if you don't want to have the whole world watching it on YouTube? What if you want to sell tickets or only ensure your employees can log in and watch the event? Right, so that's a lot about what we're going to talk about today is, how do I use a TriCaster to produce a good show? What does a TriCaster do for those of you who have never seen one before? And more importantly, what does what does Vimeo Enterprise do for us? The other aspect that we're going to talk about today is a new Vimeo Enterprise bundle that we're bundling with a TriCaster exclusively through us. We're cool that way. What it does, how it works. We may even bring in a guest to talk about it, and how you can utilize it with your clients to produce events. So all this today on the JB&A live edition. Let's roll intro video. I can find the button. Honestly, I can. All right, we're back. We did the intro video. That's important, or my editors would be mad for why they built it and we didn't use it. All good stuff. Okay, so lots to cover today. We're gonna jump through a couple different hoops. You know, a couple things we want to talk about. You know, what is a tricaster? How does it work? For those of you who have never seen one before or had your hands on one, this may be your first chance to kind of say, well, what does this thing do? Is it only for broadcasters? Might I enjoy it? So we're going to roll through that. We're going to talk about a few different features. We're going to talk about some of the integrations it has. We're going to talk a little bit about NDI and how to use NDI. And then we're going to jump into Vimeo Enterprise and talk about Vimeo Enterprise, right? So let's jump into the new tech platform for a second. Let's kind of look at that. So I'm going to shift up the screen for those of you on the far side. And we're going to look at something a little bit different here. Let's jump to this angle. I can find the button. There I am. Okay, we need to get rid of that. What I want to show you is not that, but is going to be input 7. There we go. All right, so here is the TriCaster interface, right, in all its glory. Now, for many of you looking at it from the outside, it's kind of daunting. It's like, whoa, there's a lot of stuff here. I prefer just simple things that I can just switch from camera 1 to camera 2, maybe like a traditional router or just a baseband switcher type of thing. So we're going to try and simplify it down a little bit and talk about what it does, why it does it, and how you can utilize it. You're also going to notice on my screen I'm duplicated multiple times. We're going to talk about why that is as well and why we're duplicating ourselves. But let's get into the fun parts here. Okay, so kind of just an overview of what you see on the screen right now. So this is the main TriCaster interface. On the left-hand side, we can see our sources. These are our live inputs that are coming in. On the right-hand side, we see a preview of what is coming up, right? I haven't shifted that over yet, and then we see our program. Now, really simple, if I was just to click, I can switch what you see on the far side, right? So now you're just seeing me, and with a click, I'm back to, you know, kind of the split screen view here to make this more engaging. You can see both things happening at once. And that was just a matter of utilizing the switching bus here to say, hey, I just want to take this camera and take it live. And you can see everything from the right moves to the left and so far and so forth. Okay, so, and there are simpler ways that we can bring the interface down. If you really just want to be able to punch a button, you can see I can just make it down to what are my sources and be able to take those sources to air. Of course, now every time I do this, you're not seeing it happen because I'm not giving you the picture-in-picture effect, right? But ideally, that's how simple switching can be, right? Having sources and just deciding what is my audience going to see on the far side. Right? Now, in addition to that, because it's a TriCaster, we can add some really good things. We can add all kinds of sources. Now, every TriCaster comes with some baseband inputs, of either SDI or HDMI inputs into the system, and you can add additional ones by utilizing the I/O modules or the Spark modules, and you can get that content into your system. So there isn't necessarily a massive limitation to the number of sources you can have. It's just how many sources you can see on your screen at once. Now, in my case here, if I was to go onto the network, I've got something called NDI sources. These are virtual sources that are network-based. So they're using a protocol that New Tech developed, thank you gentlemen and women for that, to allow you to put video on the network and have it be very low latency, very fast, very high quality, so you can use it in production. But it also allows you to move your production to anywhere in the building, right? Because it doesn't have to be in this room where my cameras are. It could be a camera down the hall somewhere else. So it gives us that flexibility. So as you can see, when I go into my source list here, here are all of the available NDI sources that I've got on my network currently. Tons of them. If you, they're all there. We're using Scan Converter and Sparks, and we've got devices that generate an NDI signal. And part of the reason why I want to bring this up is because here I've got myself duplicated multiple times on the screen. In fact, I think I've got a better shot of this that we can bring up. Let's go ahead and take this one to air. So what you see on the screen right now, and this is really important that we talk about this, is people often ask me, SDI is great, there's no latency to it, it works perfect, why would I want to switch to NDI? Isn't there latency going across the internet? Isn't there compression going across the network? Won't that make my signal? Can you tell which one's NDI and which one's not? Because one of the sources on your screen right now is NDI, and the other one is SDI. In fact, I can't remember either. Hold on. dun, 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 dun. Ooh, this is fun. So see, look, oh, there we go. That one is the NDI. And the other one is the SDI. And if we look at the timing of them, it's there. It's perfect. It looks the same. It's as good as SDI, but it's using an Ethernet cable, which means that camera could be down the hall and I no longer have to worry about long cable runs and fiber extensions and all those things. I can move my sources where the action is and be able to pull those across the network. Now, obviously, as you begin to create more network hops and you add more network switches, yeah, this performance might vary because there's a slightly longer distance to travel for the packets, has multiple devices that it has to pass through, different IP address changes. Yes, you can add latency to it, but it's really smooth, it's really tight, right? It isn't that alarming whatsoever. So NDI sources allow us to break the bonds of traditional production and put our content. Now, there are ways to push NDI across the web using tools like we talked about previously with Intonor in another episode, using Skype and other ways to bring our NDI sources in and out. We'll jump into the Skype conversation later, but I wanted you to see that NDI is a phenomenal tool for doing production. And if you're worried about it or afraid of it, don't be. It actually works, and it works really well. So that is NDI. So as you can see, with NDI, we get the ability to have tons and tons of sources, and I showed you all my additional ones. So that part's great. We can add additional cameras. So I talked about we have 4 SDI inputs on this one. So I can see my inputs and I can switch between my SDI version. So if I want to grab a different SDI source, that's going to be under local. I can jump in there, or we can switch and generate a multi-viewer. And this is a nice one. We can actually make our multi-viewer fit the production that we're doing. If all I'm doing is 4 cameras, I can shrink that down to just the 4 cameras that I want to see, plus myself, plus my screen. Tons and tons of fun there. Let's make these go away for a second. All right, let's bring it back up. I want more stuff on screen. If I want it more, I can stretch it out, and now I can start to see additional inputs. So let's go ahead and grab this machine. Oh, that's the same machine. We don't want to grab that one. Let's grab that one. Oh, yep, there's my teleprompter, so I can have that up. All right, yes, I use a teleprompter for those of you wondering. There we go. There's my Spark. There's my computer. So you can see I've got tons of sources here coming in and out of the system. In addition to that, we can have previews of different composites and layers that we're making. We can preview our DDR. So lots of flexibility in this. In addition to that, simple things like let's take this down a notch right now, and we'll go ahead and jump over to a single camera, and we're going to add a graphic. Wasn't tough, was it? I clicked a button and the graphic appeared. And if I click another button, the graphic disappears. So a very simple way to add layers to your production. So if you're bringing in interviewees and you want to have their names show up on the screen, pretty easy way to do it. So graphics are built right into this. You can generate your graphics externally and bring them in. I built mine in After Effects and then brought them in. But you can also utilize the built-in graphics keyer in the graphics engine to create your own internally. And there are tons and tons of templates. That's one thing I always want to make people understand is not everyone's a graphics professional, specifically me. I just order things online and get people to make them for me. But there are tons and tons of graphics already available that you can grab within the system, bring into your show. So if I'm going to go ahead and bring this one back in, that's under graphics. Let's switch my buffer. Nope, media players. All right. And let's bring in a quick graphic. Company team name here, right? I mean, now if I want to edit this, I'm just going to open it up in the edit tool. I can change the text live on air. It's a very, very easy way to bring graphics into the system. And it's just built right in. So again, you don't have to be a graphics professional to utilize the tools that are built right into the TriCaster to bring your content in and out. All right, so that's our graphic side of it. Then we're going to kind of move through video playback. Now, I played a bunch of clips earlier, and I played them inside the TriCaster. I imported those clips. They're down here in my DDR. Actually, let's switch this so you can see what I'm talking about. So we've got this DDR. Now, there are 2 DDRs built. This DDR is standing for direct disk recorder, which is an old school broadcast term for how we'd record video clips to a hard drive playout machine and kind of go that way. The name stuck because that's what people know, but effectively it's a clip player, right? And so with our clip player here, I've got a bunch of clips If I click on this one, I can hit the play button and that clip starts playing. Here, let's actually put a preview for DDR1. Let's change this one. Nope, 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 nope. Yep, nope, 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 nope. Why am I not? Oh, there it is, DDR2. Oh, it's over there. There is my clip. So we can see there I get a nice little preview what's going on in my clip player. We can set up things like autoplay where it automatically transitions from video to video. That's actually what I was doing earlier when we were playing all those video clips. In fact, here we can even jump into it. And here we go. All right, we're playing those. See, I told you guys I was going to make mistakes live on air, and you'd have to stick with me on this one. And we're doing it. There we go. Media player, DDR1. Bingo. Okay, so now we're scrubbing through clips. And look, I can scrub through these and play them back. I can jump around within my playlist or generate a playlist. And in terms of number of clips, you can have just dozens and dozens of clips built into this, and you can even stack them up in additional playlists, right? And so we've got the ability to kind of add layers and layers of video clips. So you might just be producing a show that's just watching YouTube videos like I did earlier and want to play that out for the audience. It's absolutely acceptable and doable inside of this platform, right? There's an easy way to pull it off. All right, let's get you back. I need you to be number 7. All right, so we got our screen back up. All right, so we've got all kinds of fun going on here. So we've got the ability to kind of transition through different layers, adding graphics, adding video clips. So fun stuff. Another one that's common that we hear people is green screen and virtual sets. I actually have a virtual set queued up. Let's go ahead and bring it up to air. Boom, so this is a virtual set here. Now I'm sitting inside the virtual set. I don't have a green screen here. The studio is real. It is not a fake background. So because of that, it's not gonna look the same as the color bars there where that could be an actual green screen image on that. But there are tons and tons of virtual sets built into the system. They're easy to use. And if you're really cool, you can actually create your own and craft those. So we're not going to spend a ton of time on that because that is a whole nother show that we could get into, and there are already some video clips online to talk about that. So we got our green screen effects, we got our virtual sets. Okay, and as we move through the production, audio is quintessential, is key to every production, right? Now, built into the TriCaster is an audio mixer. It looks really big, but if we start to break it down, it's about all the different inputs that we have. It's about all the different internal sources, our DDRs, our talkback mics, our effects players. We have aux buses, so we can do mix minuses into other, into in-ear monitors, that type of thing, for remote interviews. You can support embedded audio coming in on the SDI. You can support Dante audio, virtual audio coming in. And then of course we've got, just the standard physical audio inputs. Now, by no measure is this thing you see on the screen a replacement for one of these. I've got one right here because I got multiple microphones over the top, in my ear, on my lapel. We've got the ability to mix different sources, and I like the tactile control that I get of being able to talk, right? And be able to manage the audio. I turned it off. I don't know if you guys didn't see that. It clicked. That's why you lost me there for a second. It's not your speakers or your headsets. Don't worry. So you get that layer of tactile control, but we're feeding that into the TriCaster where I have additional control over it. So if the person talking just doesn't know when them off just like that, right? So it's a very easy way to kind of manage remotely what's going on and take control of the situation. Ooh, I still have a virtual set as my background. Let's change that. So let's jump up to our ME, and we're going to put that back to our graphics. There it is. I like that one better. All right. Nice and bright, blowing out your retinas on the far side. Very cool. All right, so audio mixer is there. We got the ability to support different audio formats and codecs coming in, and then we're going to rebroadcast that out. So we're kind of rolling through the different things you can do. Okay. Skype integration. I don't know if some of you saw that come up earlier, but we had, let me change over to it. Input number 6. that little logo floating around there is Skype. So within our TC1, which is what the bundle that we're talking about today, is 2 channels of Skype, 2 independent Skype channels that allow you to remotely call any Skype device. Now, this is not Skype for Business. This is not Teams currently, right? It's only old school Skype. It's using a platform called Skype TX. We're going to talk about that in a little bit and kind of how it works and how to make calls. But you have the ability to bring in live interviews, which we will do today, and have a chat with a person. What is beautiful about this is the mix minus is already done. Now, when I say mix minus, I'm talking about not sending back the program audio that you're listening to the person who we're talking to on Skype. It's actually going to send a feed of everybody but themselves, right? So it's the mix minus their own self, so they're not hearing themselves in their headset and causing a feedback loop. So that is our, we're jumping at. So actually, let's have a look at that. So we're going to jump over to input 3. There it is. All right, and let's jump over to the Skype TX. Now, in order to enable the Skype usage, you have to be able to make calls and manage calls. You do not do that in the TriCaster natively because, well, you're trying to run a show, unless you're a fool like me and you try and do it all by yourself. So what you have is a product called Skype TX. This is a Windows-based application that you download and install on any Windows machine. It is free, and that allows you to post up and make phone calls. You have to log in with an account. That's the account that the TriCaster will use to call out on. And then you can sort through your list of people. So here there's all my Skype friends or enemies or frenemies or people I have forced to be my Skype buddies over the years available to me, and I can call any of them on any device. That's what's beautiful about the Skype TX is they don't have to be on a computer or a laptop. They can be on their phone, a tablet, and be a part of the conversation. Makes it really, really easy. So we're going to make a phone call with that later. When we bring some people in, and we'll talk about it. But again, there's 2 channels. Now, if you're running a TriCaster plus, say, a dedicated Skype TX, like the talk show 100 or 4000, which has more channels of Skype, or you've got multiple TriCasters on the network, you can actually control them all from this one interface. So you can be making calls on multiple TriCasters, all from this one TX interface that you see right here. No, we'll turn that on in a second. Okay. Let's jump away from this. We're going to come back to our TriCaster, which is sitting on input 7. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Boom. You're back. Okay. We can see everything. All right. So we kind of worked downstream, right? We talked about how to bring in different sources, the type of sources you can bring in, NDI sources versus SDI sources, adding graphics, using video clips, creating layers. One thing we do want to talk about is mix effects, MEs. Now, I've got it up on the screen right now. I had it turned off earlier. But within the TriCaster, there are 4 MEs. And an ME is a mix effect. So what you're viewing on the screen right now with 2 boxes is exactly that, right? Is a mix effect. So we've taken 3 layers, because the background layer plus the 2 foreground layers, and we've composited them all together to create this look right here. And very quickly, I can cycle through a single, a double. So I've created different snapshots for my mix effects, on my mix effects, so that I can very quickly cycle through and make the production look cool. But honestly, it wasn't that much work. It just took a couple clicks. In fact, the new tech guys are laughing. Hey, you could have done that with macros. I know, guys, we could have used macros, but that's, again, another show completely on that side. Okay, so mix effects, though, we have 4 of them built into the TriCaster. ME1, ME2, ME3, and ME4. So that gives us the ability to create 4 different layouts and be able to then pull them up. So if I close my mix effect down and we look at, in fact, let's close the audio mixer down as well and change our workspace. Let's make it a little bit bigger here. All right, so when we look at this, my mix effects are actually right here on the bus, and I can switch live between these different designs that we presented. So they actually just, once I've set them up, they're just an available source in the system for me to be able to quickly switch through and utilize like it's another camera feed, which makes it really clean and really easy. Note from the gallery, we didn't talk about PTZ cameras. Good call. All right, all right, so here I've got a couple of cameras, my left, my right camera. If I right click on, I'm gonna go ahead and click in this one. All right, so we bring up our controls now for this particular source. Actually, let's do it with this other source down here. Let's go to you. All right. And on the second tab, we've got our PTZ options. We can have presets. So I'm actually controlling this over NDI. It's utilizing the NDI commands to tell my camera where to go and where to be on screen. And if I find a new position that I like, let's just say I want to look at the back of this monitor for some strange reason. Let's throw Dell a little props here. This show's sponsored by Dell. I can now create a preset that allows me to jump back to that shot very, very quickly. So while the controls here are very, very small, it's very easy to now grab a feed and bring that in. I just realized I'm showing you guys. We can be doing this in bigger screen. Okay, there we go. So you can see now it's quite quick and easy to jump between our different layouts and then control our cameras and allow us to set different presets for them. Let's get this one back to a wider shot there. There we go. All right, so PTZ camera control can be done over NDI. It can be done over VSCO over IP. All the new IP protocols from Pelco to Panasonic to Sony are supported. And then if you've got older cameras that don't have an IP standard, we can actually add a serial port to this and control them over serial as well. Don't recommend it. It's more cables. IP is way better. If you're buying new cameras, it's guaranteed any of your new cameras are going to have IP built into them. And most of them will have NDI built into them as well, making it really easy to auto-configure and start controlling your cameras. In fact, over the past few weeks, some of the conversations we've been having with people is just get NDI sources, because then you plug it into the network switch and it works, right? We talked about that on the Wirecast demo a couple weeks ago, how easy it is to set up an NDI environment and have it up and running in a matter of moments. All right, so speaking of NDI, as we want to talk about recording. Recording is key to this. So within the TriCaster, we have the ability to set up some records. So I'm going to jump over to my program feed here, and I've got now 4 record channels natively built into the system. And they are either my mix, what you're watching right now, or they can be an ISO of a specific camera or source coming in. So it gives us some flexibility. And these are going to record to the internal hard drive. However, sometimes that's not enough for people. And for that, you may want to be able to use external recorders. So I'm going to drag a window over here. All right, let's change what you're seeing for a moment. All right, so you're now seeing my computer that's running the Skype TX interface. And on this computer, I've got the NDI monitor up and running. NDI monitor is a free tool. Anybody can download it and use it. It's got some killer features like KVM. So I'm actually, that is a virtual well, I'm using KVM right now to control my teleprompter, which is another computer in another part of the room. But it's running scan converter on it with KVM turned on, and I'm able to slide through my notes. Yeah, like I said, I'm not that good. But if I want to switch to another input, I can have a look at, here's mix 1. So this is going to be our program feed. Ooh, we're creating a loop. Let's choose something else. Let's just grab one of our native cameras. That's our native NDI camera. Now notice on the screen with this, I've got PTZ control. So I can move the camera, call up presets. This allows a completely different operator than the person who's focused on the event at hand and making sure the right camera is up to control the cameras, control the sources, and record. So with one button, I can fire off a local recording on whatever computer this is running this, right? So we can build a giant farm of computers and have them recording direct to network-based storage, or you can buy network-based storage that has recording built into it, like the NRS from NewTek. So lots of different ways you can achieve this, but you've got the ability to have unlimited independent records of your program feed, your clean feed, your camera ISOs, utilizing either the built-in recording or third-party recording on separate computers. A simple way to get it done. All right, let's jump back to our main interface. We're rounding the corner of fun here. All right, we're going to go back to the TriCaster. All right, so you've got the interface back up again. Let's shrink a couple things. So recording is there. We've talked about that. And then the next one would be encoding and streaming, because you've got to get your signal out. Now, you're watching this via the Vimeo platform right now. I am streaming via Vimeo, and it's actually very, very easy. Utilizing the APIs, I log in once with my Vimeo account and I can see all the events that are queued up and ready to go, or I can create a new event right here from within the TriCaster, and I can determine who I want. Can I create a link that anybody can see, and I can start the streaming. No other setup. That was it. Adding your account, your information, and you're done. So no more configuring encoders, no more trying to make sure you got the right bit rate, the right, RTMP type, all these little settings. If you want to do that, you can, but the reality is most of us don't. We want to hit a button that says start streaming, and that's our show, right? And so with that, the API integration with Vimeo makes it really easy. Now, simultaneously, if I want to stream to Facebook and YouTube at the same time, I can. Why? When you've got Vimeo, there's no need. And we're going to talk a little more about what that means. You do have dual channel encoding in this, and then we can also rebroadcast from the Vimeo platform, which we'll talk about in a minute or two. Okay, last one. We talked about remote operators on a TriCaster, right? The ability to have somebody else running the camera, somebody else queuing up the Skype session, kind of running down that path. What if I'm not in the room though, and I want to run the TriCaster? What if I want to queue up content for the TriCaster, right? So let's jump back over to my other screen for a moment. And we're going to make the NDI monitor go away. Actually, we're going to do something fun. We're going to pull up. No, we're just going to move this one over here. All right, we'll drop that over there for now. Get that out of the way. Okay, what if, though, I wanted to run the TriCaster? All right, so what you're seeing now on screen is Live Panel. This is an embedded web GUI built into the TriCaster, and it works once you turn on you get the advanced subscription model from NewTek, right? Simple IP address, you can log right in, and now I've got access to all the tools that I would in the normal GUI. Ooh, I'm getting a little feedback loop here, folks, sorry. I left the speaker up on one of my monitors. That's not good. None, okay. There we go. Make that go away. All right, so first things first, audio mixer. Maybe I don't have time to run the audio mixer and I didn't build a macro for it and I just want somebody to run the mixer for me. So utilizing the web GUI, we've got the ability for a separate person to do it. Let's jump through, right? Next, let's not talk about data link, that's another show. Let's talk about video clips. Maybe I want to play these out of order. I have somebody else queuing them up and running the video clips. So very simply, I can run video clips right onto my screen or right through my TriCaster. So it's about externalizing the control and allowing other people to help with the production, right? And traditionally in production, we do separate roles, unless you're silly like me and you want to do it all yourself because you thought it would be a good idea. And most importantly, the switcher, being able to switch the show live. So if I jump, ooh, we are playing a video clip. So I can control what's going out to air. Let's take that buffer off. Let's bring the DDR in. You can see very simply, I have the ability to control the event and switch around live on air. So why somebody want to do that? Well, again, it's about maybe you don't want to be in the room where the TriCaster control surface is. Maybe you want to sit out in the audience and be in the room so you can have a better perspective on what's going on and enjoy the show while you're live switching it. So lots of flexibility there, lots of capability to manage the show. And it goes a little deeper with this. You can create macros and fire off macros. You can actually build your own interface for how you want to see. Oh, you're not seeing. Hold on. Let's get you over to the right screen. There we go. So if you want to build your own interface and kind of manage that interface and allow yourself to see what's going on, you can customize your own. You can have NewTek customize one for you. So lots of really, really cool features here in this web GUI, which allows you to extend the production outside of the production room. We're already doing it with NDI. Why wouldn't you do it with the TriCaster as well? All right, so we're kind of running down the fun parts now. Let's do something a little different. Let's make a phone call. So I'm going to jump over to our Skype TX interface. I've already got somebody queued up. Let's change our view here because we're going to mix this up a little bit. All right. And we're going to call in the recruits. I'm going to call in some help because I'm dying here. All right, here we go. So over on the TX platform, I'm making a phone call right now. And we're going to bring somebody into the show momentarily. Let's give them a second to log in. Oh, good Lord Almighty. There's the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, James Page from Vimeo. Give him a warm hand.
I'll clap myself. I've got to mute you on the other player because we've got a bit of a delay. But
I don't blame you. I would mute
right.
me too.
Yeah.
I actually had a title slide and everything up for you, but now I can't remember where I put it. And this is what happens when you try and run the show yourself. Maybe that's it. There it is! I did it! Yes! Thank you! Thank you! I'm talented sometimes. James, thanks for joining me. I'm just kind of running out of things to talk about. Okay, so you're with Vimeo.
Yeah.
Tell me what Vimeo does. I mean, at its core.
At its core, I think we're the award-winning, best-in-class, ad-free, white labeling online video platform, right? Everybody's got a Vimeo account, haven't they? Even if it's free, I would hope.
Absolutely.
Whether for storing your video online, sharing your video, collaborating on your video, distributing video, selling your video. And now we've got live streaming.
Now, this is something new, the live streaming side, because it was always more about on-demand content, right? It was about the ability to just kind of manage your playback videos, sell clips, you know, have high-quality content that you could control a little better through the Vimeo platform and not have it like mass market appeal like YouTube, so to speak, or everybody viewing it.
Right.
So what was the big change to live streaming, though? When did that take place?
Well, Vimeo as a company acquired Livestream, the company 3.5 years ago. And that's been fully integrated into the Vimeo stack with our products now. So everything is Vimeo if you go to vimeo.com. So we inherited all of that expertise and just great core products that people have been using to do enterprise class streaming for about a decade now.
Nice. By the way, thanks for honoring the show by wearing a nerd shirt. I appreciate it.
Right.
Yep.
And I've got a clock in the background to prove that we're live.
Ah, bonus. That's the one thing I didn't think about.
Some people don't like doing live webinars live. It's strange.
Well, you know, I will admit I've been guilty up until about a month ago. You know, so it's, you know, it just happens. Okay, so there is a difference between Vimeo, the standard sort of live stream platform, and the Vimeo Enterprise platform. Correct? What are those differences?
Yeah, that's right. Well, the key one is really the unlimited live streaming with privacy. So as you said at the top of the hour, anybody can go live with a phone to YouTube, but that doesn't really help you monetize. It also doesn't keep your content secure. You can also get into a lot of rights issues, especially with audio usage and stuff.
Yeah, so if you want to keep I broke them all today.
Right. So if you want to keep yourself secure or monetize or hit multiple platforms simultaneously from one contribution feed, that's really where enterprise comes in from Vimeo. So when we launched it at the end of last year, it was really targeted towards corporations who wanted to do like all hands meetings across multiple countries, multiple offices, but keep it secure behind their SSO, so single sign-on authentication. That was prior to what we're suffering through right now in the world. So we were a little bit ahead of the game in terms of people working from home. Now a lot of corporations are getting on board with this kind of technology. Zoom doesn't scale beyond, you know, a couple of dozen contributors, as we know. So how do you reach a mass audience? Well, you need some extra features like live chat and polls and Q&A, and you need moderation. None of these features are all available on any of the free platforms. So we've really built it around what our dream platform would be for doing this kind of thing. So hopefully we can show some of those features based on the thing we have going on right now.
We are absolutely going to jump into those right now. So let's let me switch the screen. I'm going to keep you up on air with me, and we're going to go simultaneously. Okay, so right now I'm logged into, on my machine, the Vimeo Enterprise dashboard, as I'm calling it, right? So let me step back once. So when I first log in, I'm actually I kind of view all of our source content. I can see videos that we've posted, but more importantly, I see live events. And here's our live event that's running right now. I can copy links and post them out, and I can also, I don't want to see how many people are watching. Okay, so a couple of things that we have the ability to turn on. So chat, I have been lame. I forgot to turn on chat. Oh, looks like somebody already turned it on. So yes, you mentioned that earlier, moderated chat, or the ability to view chat, delete things as they're happening. So lots happening there. for chat, they do have to log in. They can't be anonymous. I do like that aspect of it because you can't just throw snarky comments out there because I see you, Jeremy Morris. Yes, part of the premium access. I knew the new tech guys would come on and help me as I forgot things. So chat, pretty basic, but the effect is it's there and you have the ability to control it and manage it and turn it off if you don't want it, right? Polls are something I thought was really cool. So being able to generate a poll and ask a question. So
be careful what you ask here, Nick.
I really had to think through for a second. Are we live? Option 1, yes, no. Let's go ahead and create that. So if we open the poll right now, those of you out in viewer land in a few seconds are going to get a little pop-up on your screen, and you're going to be able to see what's happening live in the poll. Oh, we already have votes. Boom, look at this. So now here's one really cool feature that I thought is awesome. So while we're in the TriCaster, while we're trying to manage content, it's hard to generate content on the fly. But you guys have done it with the ability to bring in the polls with just a click of a button. And we can actually see the results as it's happening. Yes, no. So we've only had 13 votes. People, you need to vote. You need to vote. We need to see the changes. So I can hide that and make it go away. I can show it. So really, really cool, really easy to do. We can put it in the embed, we can embed it in other places, or we can leave it here. So if you're restreaming, I'm assuming if you're restreaming to other sites like YouTube or Facebook out of your platform, then being able to take that chat and embed it elsewhere becomes super powerful.
Yeah, so if you hit publish results right now, Nick, it'll generate the graphics real time on the results. So.
Oh, publish results. That's the button I missed. Thank you. See, that's why you're on, because you'll be able to tell me. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. All right. Boom. So there it is. It's up and it's in real time. So now we're not taxing the operator. What I like about this additionally is it allows the marketing CMO and other people to get engaged in the conversation, right? Let's say this is an HR event and we're talking about the new benefits packages. It allows the person who's not responsible for, the picture-in-picture and everything else that's going on to be able to manage conversation around the production, right? And it makes it easier because let's be honest.
Whoever's basically managing the meeting can run the graphics.
Right. And in my case, I've got 2. So polls are cool. Let's go ahead and hide that one, and we're going to turn it off. Let's go to Q&A. I think Q&A is phenomenal. And for a couple reasons. One, I can decide when to turn it on. So in this particular case, let's go ahead. I just turned it on. And you mentioned moderated Q&A. I think that one's key, right? Because we don't always get that ability to moderate. So let's, James, here we go. Boom. Powerful unit. Okay, so this one's cool. Okay, so a question just came in. Let's see. We have Vimeo OTT platform. Are these features? Why does your on-air... Okay, here we go. This one will be easy to answer. So when I approve a question, it's actually going to go out to the general audience, right? So it sits in approved.
Yes.
And now when I hit answer, it's going to come up on air. Is that the case?
Yeah. Yeah, so the idea with the moderation is if you want to, you can add this layer that you can expose the questions asked to the rest of the audience to vote on the questions. Which, if you're in like on all hands with hundreds or thousands of viewers, that you need that kind of filter. If anybody's used anything like Slido before, where you can up and down vote questions, it's the same kind of concept. And that means the moderator of the meeting will always see the most popular question at the top. Obviously, the most popular question is maybe not the one you want to answer, so you can manually go and then pick which ones you want to take to air by just hitting the magic button that will generate your lower thirds for you automatically.
Nice. So here's another great one. So we're going to go ahead and, Brad, thank you for reminding me that the light was not on. I have now turned that on. Let's go to the next question. The next one, is the Corona still cold? No. No, the Corona is not cold any longer. Great. So for those of you asking other questions, we're going to come back around to the serious questions a little bit later. Yep. We'll come back to those questions a little bit. We're just going to go through. So graphics is another one, and I had graphics generated, and then I forgot to load them to this account. But the same way that we're doing graphics, the way the polls are coming up, we have the ability to embed graphics so that you can, the same way a third person or somebody who's not running the show can be driving graphics up onto the screen.
Yes. And that person doesn't have to be that talented. If they can post a Facebook status update, they can do this.
Got it. I mean, it's just a matter of grabbing an image, right? And now, does it support? I'm assuming it supports PNGs. It supports things with alpha channels.
Yep. So you can do lower
simple.
thirds, full screens, custom logos, bugs, all that kind of stuff.
And then if you don't have any graphics, if you didn't have a file prepared because I was focused elsewhere, we can actually do that without, so you can see it actually added a background to it to make it very clean and simple. And so it's the ability to publish that live out there. Now there are full screen and then there are logos, and you can have all three up simultaneously, but only one of each.
Yep.
Okay. So graphics, let's make that lower third go away. Thank you. All right, so now the nice one on the moderator side too, the person who's managing, is I can preview it. Like right now I'm previewing it, but it hasn't gone out live. So you've got that ability to kind of manage. And then the really important one, which is I think is stream health, right? It's the ability to know how are we doing. One thing I do like about the interface here is we were running a test earlier in the week and it told me my network wasn't very good, that I was kind of struggling. And it turned out that a bunch of people were pushing files at that time. And so it was creating some bad network health. But as we can see today, I've got a good connection. The stream looks good, and then we can look at metrics. Kind of what's going on out in the ether. I'm kind of dig into the analytics. So it's, and I even like the notifications here if things become unstable. So you've got a lot of good diagnostic tools to manage the interface.
Yeah, and if you've ever tried to do a live stream from a hotel ballroom or something, you know that these things are critical. And having one solid connection outbound is the minimum you need, because we can probably get on to talking about simulcasting, which seeks nicely from having one stable connection.
Okay, so talk about simulcasting. Give me the rundown.
Yeah, so if you go to the, you can pull up the sidebar while we're talking about this. So on the destinations tab, obviously we're watching this through the Vimeo portal. This is the public portal. You can have private ones. You can have showcases, which can be branded to whatever your event is or your company. Kind of looks like a Netflix or an Amazon Prime kind of landing page. All built out through just picking some colors and some logos. But here's where we get into simulcasting. So I mentioned like doing an event from a remote location. One good connection up to Vimeo is all you need, because from here we can simulcast to Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and unlimited RTMP destinations, unlimited. So the other nice thing is, because we're a Facebook partner, we can legally simulcast to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. I know in the past others have had to have two encoders or use the YouTube RTMP feed, but here you can log into all your accounts and it will create the events and stream live simultaneously. So
let's talk about, you mentioned other RTMPs. So in a typical corporate world, that might be somebody who's doing IPTV internally in their organization. Yep. They've got Brightsign players, they've got an Xterity system, and so they want to pull this and broadcast it internally on big screens using dedicated players versus everybody watching it on their tablet and sucking down bandwidth. And that's effectively where you guys would see RTMP, right?
Yes, and on that note, we also have support for ECDN on Enterprise. So if you do have that corporate environment where you have like 500 employees in the same building all watching the stream at the same time, ECDN will actually do peer-to-peer data distribution within the local area network, rather than pulling 500 unique streams down from the outside. But digital signage would be a great application to get around that problem too. We've got a number of house of worship clients with multiple locations using RTMP destinations to get to their signage in other locations when they're simulcasting.
Clean. What other features do we need to talk about, man? I mean, here's one that's really key for me is with most CDN services, you get a bill, right? And that bill is based on number of viewers and the usage and the bit bucket and how much cost it was to them. What does that look like from Vimeo's perspective?
And their market rate of whatever the bandwidth is, which you don't know, right, when you sign that contract necessarily. Vimeo is unlimited. So Unlimited events. You can have up to 3 simultaneous events on the platform at any one time. Unlimited viewers. So it's pretty straightforward. You pay us for the platform, and you can use it as much or as little as you like. Yeah. So no unexpected bills from us. One of the features I should have mentioned when we were talking about contribution is one of our unique features is we actually provide the ability to do a backup stream. So you can contribute 2 different encoders to the same event. Therefore, if somebody steps on a cable, trips on a wire, or your LTE modem drops out, or whatever it is, it will automatically switch over, fail over to the other connection.
So believe it or not, I have another TriCaster set up with this same show running on a separate machine. Thank you, the folks at NewTek, for providing that. But just in case I had any issues today, I had a backup stream, and that was fed in there. So we had that ability to jump on air in a matter of seconds. I hit a couple keys on my KVM, and I'm back up and running. So that's a powerful, powerful tool, because not everybody provides that from a CDN service, the ability to have simultaneous encoders to ensure it. One of those encoders could be a cellular bonded encoder, or using cellular. That way you're not on the same network. I mean, most people, when they think of running dual networks, they're just plugging into the same network switch going, oh, I've got 2 ports. Well, it's about having a completely redundant system, right? A completely separate internet provider. If you're at a hotel, you're running a cellular box plus the house internet, right? And this goes to, redundant power runs the same way, right? We never plug it into the same wall. The point is plugging into separate power sources to ensure you've got overall capability. Okay.
Right. Some other highlights, as soon as your live event's finished, it will be published as a video on demand asset in your library, which you can then reshare. If you contribute up to the cloud in 4K, that will be a 4K viewable asset. We will do all the translating, transcoding to all the different flavors in the cloud automatically, so people at home, whatever connection they're on, will be playing it at the right speed for them. Analytics are also critical. So when the event's finished, you can dig into how people watched it, on what platforms, where they came from. You can go from country, state, even down to the city level metro as to where your viewers came from, how long they watched for, where people came in, where they dropped off, which, different applications. And you can export all of this as CSV data. So if you are a HR team and you want to know, did all of your employees watch the stream, you could pull that data off the SSO logs. Or if you're an entertainment event, you could see which bands, like a bad DJ at the disco, when everybody stopped watching, when they played the wrong track, right? So you can kind of get into all of these kind of metrics and improve your show, or find out like who's watching, No, I think if you're marketing exclusively to North America, you might not want viewers in Europe, for instance, and you can geofence and do all these kind of great things.
Well, and if you're selling tickets, I mean, that becomes the next, right? If you're getting to the place where you're wanting to monetize these events, being able to know where your viewers are, where you should spend advertising dollars on that event, that's key. And I think that's kind of what I was alluding to at the beginning of this. I think the whole world of live events is changing right now, right? I mean, this whole, Fortnite live debut of a song was super impressive, because we're talking close to 20 million people. Think of any event that had 20 million people watching it, right? You're going to come up with a couple sporting events. That's about it. So the concept of now being able to push out like this and be able to get an event going and be able to grow your user base at the same time, right? Because it's no longer, if you're a small band and you're thinking to yourselves, well, we have a great following locally. How do we increase our following? Well, it's get yourself out there and make your content more accessible. So I think this concept of how events are going to be evolving over the next few years, or the next even 6 months, is going to be quintessential of having a platform that allows you to manage it, control it, and glean data from it. Analytics are everything right now. I mean, if content is king, metadata is the queen, and she rules the roost, right? And that's how we'll know more. Killer stuff. So let me check the Q&A section here and see if we got anything that we can answer for people. Getting over to Q&A. All right. Is there a time limit to the length of the stream?
Right now it's 4 hours. By the end of this quarter, it'll be 24/7 on Enterprise.
Got it. So 24/7 eventually, 4 hours currently. Oh, good.
Yeah, within the next couple of months, that'll be rolling out.
We haven't bumped into that yet. That's bonus. Let's see.
I don't think anybody out there wants to do more than 4 hours on a webinar right now.
No, I've been getting beat up on that one already. For monetization, other than donations, what are you guys doing to help people monetize their content?
Well, so Vimeo has been all about the monetization on the OTT and media side of the house. You can, with a basic Vimeo account, monetize VOD assets. You can have them as rentals or you can sell them. Our OTT and media products are more geared to do things like subscriptions, pay-per-view, AVOD, which is advertising, sponsored videos. That's a whole other webinar we could get into about how you make money off your videos. But for enterprise, if we're talking about live streaming, two simple ways. Put it behind a paywall. You can use password protection or you can use SSO, either of those two authentication mechanisms. And then you can do with it what you like. If you were doing multiple events and you had a lot of content you wanted to monetize, that's more of an OTT media conversation to have.
So here was a question from the Burgos Meister. So the Vimeo Live platform is overlaying your broadcast output. Can this be controlled remote controlled, like not in the same room? Oh yeah. So I think so. Exactly what you're asking here is the overlays that we're seeing, can they be done from elsewhere? So effectively, Chris, they can be done from anywhere. That you've got an internet connection, because you're just logging into this site that you guys are seeing right now and generating the content, answering the Q&As. So like in my case, Laura's in San Rafael and she's moderating this from 101 miles away and managing the content that's coming into this.
Yeah, you actually get, on an enterprise account, you get 10 accounts you can set up for your one account, and they can be admins, contributors, uploaders, viewers, etc. So you could just set up a second person to be able to log into your platform and do all the graphics from their house or wherever they're at.
Here's a great one. So if you embed on another site, can you have the Q&A poll be embedded so it stays full screen?
The Q&A poll chat window that we're seeing here on the Vimeo platform. So if you go to a third-party platform to view, you'll only see the video output. You won't see the chat window or the interactivity. With the enterprise platform, you can white label all of this experience onto your own website with domain control and with a showcase. So we would recommend you steer your viewers to your own site where you could host the chat and the Q&A stuff.
All right, we had a price request on the price for Vimeo Enterprise. So there is somebody who buys it with a TriCaster right now, and it's about a $1,900 difference on the total package. But in terms of pricing, there are different layers in the enterprise platform, are there not?
Yeah, the one that's most common is the first tier, which is unlimited live events, unlimited players, all that other good stuff, 7 terabytes of upload storage, all the support plans, everything else. The only differentiator between the different tiers of enterprise are the SSO view accounts. So if you are using SSO to authenticate viewers securely, so in a corporate environment where you only want employees watching, for instance, that's how we tier it. So I think the first tier comes with up to 1,000 of those. If you're doing public streaming events or just using password protection, there are no caps.
So this is why I should not be in control of the questions, because I'm clicking buttons and bringing them on too early. So following up on that, so for people who have the standard Vimeo OTT platform, are any of the enterprise features going to roll over to them?
Yeah, I would recommend you chat with your account manager for whoever you bought your Vimeo OTT platform for, because we are having a lot of people launch OTT platforms with Vimeo and using a combination of enterprise as the way that they use their contribution to their live events.
Got it. All right, so we got one that's actually going back to the talk show part. So it's how many callers can you have at a time? So the TriCaster that we're using has 2 built-in Skypes. So we can have 2 callers on the screen plus whatever local sources we have. However, you can add additional talk shows to the systems. You can add a talk show 100, which I don't think are available anymore, or the talk show 4000, which are absolutely out of stock right now. But when they come back in, you'll be able to add more talk shows to the system and increase the number of simultaneous callers you've got on screen. I think the overhead limitation is how many pips you can do and how you would build the program. Okay, so there's some more questions about pricing. So call your JB&A reps or call your new tech reps about the pricing. Your dealers on that, and pricing is also in the JB&A price guide and published as of right now. Anonymous. Oh, Laura, can we get someone from new tech to answer questions too? No, I can't bring anybody else into the call currently. Sorry.
I can answer them wrongly for new tech if that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do a good job of that one myself, right? What's the delay between live and the viewer? So it's interesting. So I'm watching it on my screen right there, and I've seen it go anywhere from 30 seconds down to 15 seconds. What do you say is a general rule of thumb for the live to air, the delay between ship?
Yeah, I'm seeing about 15 seconds right now. That depends on some of the features you switch on, such as the simulcasting and stuff. But if you need a low latency stream, that's a conversation you can have with our support team, and they can set you up. We deliberately padded a little bit for safety because we have a lot of non-experienced users on the streaming side, especially in corporate land.
What else we got here? Expecting streaming features to come to OTT. I guess, Powerful You, just trying to get back to your answer. So are you expecting streaming features to come to OTT? I mean, some of these features are there. I'm not quite sure I understand.
Yeah. That goes back to the question we talked about, where if you have an OTT platform with Vimeo, you can just add Enterprise as the way that your on-ramp to your live event.
Got it. Here's a great one. Can you password protect your content on the live stream app?
We're talking about Vimeo here rather than live stream. So live stream, the live stream feature set as it was is still the same, but the Vimeo platform is what we're showing today. And if you have a password protected asset on there and you go through the Vimeo portal, whether on the web or the app, that will be password protected that way too.
Easy enough. Well, we got more of them coming in. Is it possible to get the delay down by using only a few features?
Yeah, you could also just open a ticket with our support and they'll enable low latency mode.
Oh, okay.
It works too.
Got it.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to
We've
know.
actually tested it down to like 2-3 seconds.
Ooh, next time. I've got to try that. What's the upload bit rate needed?
We recommend 5 meg for 1080p, but it will vary depending on your connection, depending on the type of content, because we use ABR. We recommend ABR encoding. The player will vary depending on the client's connectivity, and we do all the rate shaping and everything real time in the cloud. So just like YouTube or Netflix, if your connection gets ropey, it will clock it down all the way down to like 240p if needed, up and down to 1080.
Yeah, so we're pushing about an average of 4,400 kilobits, so just under that 5 meg, which is pretty good. Pretty good. Current status is good. Oh, love it when it's good. Okay, let's jump back over to the Q&A. Got a few new ones up. Any Twitch TV integrations coming?
In terms of integrations, you could just add them as an RTMP destination for now. That's what we have. So if you want to simulcast to Twitch, you could just add that in as an RTMP. Got it.
So that'd be coming over here and doing an ad.
Yep.
With that IP address. Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. Did I just archive them? Nope. Okay, we got them all. Well, it looks like we've kind of exhausted the questions, which is good. And we did it before 12:30, which I won't get beat up again for going an hour and a half. James, how does somebody get to know more about the platform? Is there a demo path for them? How do they get integrated with this?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again? Sorry.
Yeah, how does somebody grow with? I mean, how does somebody get under the hood of this and actually get to use it and test it?
Call you guys. We can set up demos easily enough. We have a large team in the US. We're over 700 strong. Vimeo, headquartered in New York, but now distributed across the country, as you'd expect. Yeah, we can do demos. The great thing about all of this is it's all in a browser, so demos can be done instantly, no problem at all.
Yeah, they're quick and they're easy. That's, I mean, your first training for me was 15 minutes, and I was like, okay, where's the rest? No, we're done.
Right.
Somebody mentioned for pricing, see your JB&A reps, perfect there. or you can, end users, contact your new tech dealer for pricing. They have access to it. Lee, thank you very much. I appreciate it. The good vibes. So I'm going to call this one done. James, hugely thankful.
Yeah.
So just to kind of reiterate to everybody, so there is a bundle that was announced last week between the new tech and the Vimeo, where you can buy a TC1 with some accessories and get the Vimeo platform bundled together. The APIs are done, so as we showed earlier, it's super easy to log in, generate a show, and connect it to the service. And it's available at a slight discount right now. And it's, one of the things I will mention is talk shows are out of stock. The best way to get one is to buy a TriCaster or TC1, and you get 2 channels of talk show. And you can bundle in the Vimeo platform along with it. So this is pretty cool stuff. For those of you who are asking, yes, we are archiving this, and it will be available for view at a later time, probably later today, and we'll email it out to everybody, share it with your friends. If you have any further questions, as always, you can hit up JB&A at the digits that are going to come up on screen in just a moment, if I can figure out which mouse I'm supposed to be on. There it is, sooner or later. James, again, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. It's been awesome having a guest. I've never had one before. That was fun.
Well, you made me be your friend on Skype earlier, so I thought I should just...
It worked.
And thanks everybody for the good questions. It was good.
Yeah, super awesome, super awesome. Love it, love it. All right, I am going to put an end to this as soon as I can figure out where the button is to stop streaming. In the meantime, this has been JB&A live on the air, and I thank you for being with us.